Hey guys, John here from Deck Attack Outdoors, and today I'm going to be sharing with you some tips and tricks that I find helpful when you're not necessarily shooting your bow and how to shoot your bow when you're practicing, but what you should do and how you should situate some things to help you be more successful while you practice. Oh, we're still rolling. Okay.
Eventually. One hour later.
Any day now would be nice. Thank you very much. Okay, sorry if that scared if you're watching RIP headphone users, but basically, well, that is it just tells you that it's noon out here in Sheldon. They ring the fire horn or whatever the heck it's called. It tells you that it's noon. So yeah, I just get kind of used to it, but yeah. Anyway, the first tip I'm going to be sharing with you guys is the number of arrows that I believe is right to shoot in practice with when you're practicing. So personally, I shoot between 2 and 3 arrows in a group. I do this because it's a less likelihood for you to have outliers. And what I mean with that is that if you're shooting a group of 2 and 3 arrows, your grouping is going to be more accurately depicted because there's a less likelihood for error. So let's just look at it from the opposite viewpoint, I guess is what you could call it. If you're shooting groupings of 6, 7, 8 arrows, you have more chances of outliers. And so what I mean by that is that you could have a grouping of 3 arrows that is a quarter size, you know, this big, it looks perfect. And then you go and shoot your 3rd, 4th, and 5th arrow, and they're all over the board, and it just makes your grouping look not as consistent as it would be if you are just shooting a less sorry, I can't speak, a less number of arrows in your group. So yeah, totally lost my train of thought there. All I'm trying to say is that I believe shooting 2 to 3 arrows in a group is better than shooting 6, 7, or 8 because you use less energy per group and your groups will look more accurate because you're not wasting energy pulling your bow back 6 times, and you'll be able to put that energy and focus onto aiming and placement and just overall better grouping. So sorry if that was confusing. Into the next tip. Okay, I'm pretty sure I wasn't focused the entire last segment, so I'm just gonna restart. Basically, my second tip is that I gotta repeat myself. The second tip that I'm gonna be sharing with you guys is where you should be practicing. So right now I'm in a short grass backyard, field, whatever you want to call it. And this is important because if you miss, you will be able to find your arrows and you won't have to waste money buying new arrows. I can personally speak from personal experiences that if you put your target up against something like that and you miss, you're not going to be able to find your arrow nearly as much as you would if you were if you're shooting where I'm shooting right now. I feel like it's overlooked. You also want to be in a flat area so that your arrows are flying straight. It seems basic, but I mean, I feel like it's overlooked. So just be smart and put your target in a flat grass field. That sounds kind of dumb, but it's true. Okay, so my third and final tip, it's gonna seem basic, I know. This is just kind of an intro 101 video, I guess you could call it, is that when you're practicing shooting, you should shoot from various distances. And what I mean by that is that you shouldn't you shouldn't go out in a day and only shoot from 20 yards. You should shoot 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, I mean even go like 32 or something like that, because the deer is not always going to be at 20 yards where you're set to practice and where you're dialed in at. You have to make sure you're dialed in up till wherever you feel comfortable or wherever you feel you need to be dialed into. So what I mean by that is that personally for me, I am dialed in up to 50 yards because I know out here in eastern North Dakota, I'm not going to be taking cross-field 60, 70-yard shots at mule deer. All these whitetails are going to come into the stand, they're going to come in relatively close, you know, if like the wind and smell and whatever all factors, if they're all good. So an average shot for me is 20, 25, 30 yards. You know, I mean, I can poke a deer at 40 if I really wanted to. I probably should have if you watched my crazy buck encounter video. I definitely should have flung an arrow at that one deer. That deer was at 40 yards, but you know, he saw me and the wind was swirling and it just didn't work out. But that's why you have to be dialed in all the way up to wherever you think you need to be, because because if a monster deer comes in at 40 yards and he sees you, but you have time to get drawn back and you have a 40-yard pin dialed, you can be able to get that deer. But if you don't have that 40-yard pin dialed in, and you would miss an opportunity to get that deer. So it's just, I feel like it's overlooked, and you always should be shooting from different distances because you never know where that deer is going to come in at. That's gonna wrap it up for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I didn't really go in depth into anything. It's just kind of basic things that I feel like everybody should know, or at least have a second look at. If you want to see more tip videos kind of similar to this, let me know in the comment section down below. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you later.